Hey, hey, hey. Folks, how's everybody doing today? My name is Rudy. Time for another episode of Long, Slow Conversation. We try to do these videos about once a month, everybody. Today's topic of conversation and discussion is going to be around two things. The return to reality, not RtR, not return to Ravnica of lost hopes and dreams. A return to reality and the market and the public's mindset. And a combination of how I think what you need to be looking at and how you need to be reset and return back to normal to make it moving forward in the next couple of years in the collectible space and the finance and kind of the wealth building division. I apologize. 48 seconds in, 50 seconds in. 1980s pink Rudy visor has returned. Let's get into the video, everybody. So first, we got a couple topics to go over today. I do want to mention a couple of my Metazoo game number 2 results, but that's only going to be like 2-3 minutes of the video. But the biggest thing I wanted to go over today is kind of returns, risks, swings, and actually the timing of this video, the stock market and everything is really getting pretty volatile due to there's a new virus thing going on. I think it's the Bumblebee Optimus Prime variant, where I think like 3 variants combined. And it's like the golden Power Ranger, the blue one. I'm not sure. Serious though, be safe out there. Don't let the memes get to you. So as we return to this reality, I want to talk about the concept of what we can all kind of expect here. So here's the thing. Here's a straight line that's nowhere near straight like my face. Okay. This is kind of, as you march forward, you can't have, let's say this is, how do I say it? Let's say this is positive returns going up. And these are going to be losses going down, okay? Let's just kind of make it pretty simple, shall we? So, if you want something that averages... Let's say you're someone like Rudy, and you want a rate of return. My goal every year is that 7-8%, okay? Let's just call it 7. Let's make it a nice even number. If you want that nice average 7% rate of turn, okay? Let's just call it 7%, okay? Historically, if you're going for more conservative numbers like that, the downside of that 7%, which is the reflection, the upside down, for all you Stranger Things fans out there, the downside of the upside down is usually going to be pretty similar. And again, this is kind of theory, not practical. So we'll have -7 to a +7. How about that? So in theory, when you're doing wealth management and wealth creation, again, we've talked about this on the channel, the goal is not to say, how can I 10x my money? Do I buy Rudy coin, doggy coin, kitty cat coin, hamster coin, or washer dryer coin with the stepsister? That, it's fun because everybody, see, here's the thing. This is where things get a little rudimentary, should generate some, you know what I should do? In every video, I should put my own comment on top and pin my own comment and saying this is the thumbs down comment. Since we're not allowed to thumbs down on the videos, I should make my own comment saying this is the thumbs down comment. So like this comment if you want a thumbs down, so we can track our own thumbs downs. What do you guys think? That's a good idea. Somebody told me to do that. So, when you're looking for these normal rates of return, this is the swing you can expect. Okay? Now again, I know it's such a derogatory term. The more poor and low income and tight your financial situation is, the more this is less attractive. So how do I say this very simply to generate some thumbs downs? The less assets you have, the more risk you feel you have to take to play catch up. Therefore, the lower income individuals tend to stay in a lower socioeconomic class. That's kind of the theory that was taught to me. Again, there's things you can argue with both ways because, the more passion and the more you want to get out of that low income situation, the more drive you have, the higher the chance that you'll eventually be able to pull out of that. So that gets into a different kind of personal, motivational kind of conversation. But so again, if you already have assets and a decent amount of wealth, averaging and targeting this is great. Because again, historically, if you're averaging this kind of average return, your downside risk is very minimal. That's the thing. So if you're a, let's say, low income struggling Timmy, you say, Rudy, bro, home skillet, corn fritter, tater tots, waffle fries, drive-through. Rudy, I cannot go for 7% a year. I only have $1,000 as my entire net worth. 7% a year is going to get me on $1,000. Is how much, folks? Exactly, next to nothing. Okay, so you're looking at what, 70 bucks on $1,000? Did I do that right? Yeah. I was like, so it's going to take you 10,000 years to get to the millions. So what you have to do, or what Timmy's believe you have to do, is you have to redo the system. You need to go for this. Or this. You need to go for this. These people are going to want, I need double-digit 30% returns, or I need to 10x my money. Okay? That's the culture that's fueled 2020, 2021 with dog money, Rudy money, washer, dryer, repairman money. That's, so you can see, now remember, just like the upside down, the more you tilt that degree of change, and again, there's all kinds of calculus terminologies of functions and different, but I don't want to use Greek characters and functions and algorithms. Like, I want to keep the video very simple because, again, there's actually algorithms and very complex economic and actually calculus and different type of financial formulas with functions and all these letters and things. I want to stay out of that in this video because I feel like I'll lose a lot of people by putting formulas based on rates of change and the velocity of the different, I don't want to get into derivatives and very complicated things because I want to make the video relatable. So I just want to lay that out there. So again, now if you want to do that, you have to accept this and you have to accept this, okay, which is going to be negative 30%, and of course, a possibility of like literally a 90% loss if you want to swing this out. And this is the part that people don't seem to understand. I see it all the time with options traders, derivative traders, doing puts, calls, and Rudy, I got this, dude. I got straddles and strinkles, and I got my Bollinger Band set, my stop loss set. I'm gonna 10x this. I'm gonna do literally out of the money options that expire tomorrow morning. Okay. First of all, I think, was it like 80 or 90% of all option contracts expire worthless? Because the wealthy people underwrite them. We talked about in the other video where people have 10, 20, 50, $100 million portfolios and they're writing like way out of the money covered calls and collecting very small premiums. And literally like 95% of the time, they just get free tendies. Those are the people doing it right. Because if they get exercise, their principal value is appreciated so much, they don't care. Okay, so when you get into this is kind of a very important thing as we return to normal, return to this reality situation. Everybody needs to go back to expecting normal returns like that, okay? Because what happens is everybody's used to this. Everybody's like, Rudy, I bought Metazoo on your first kit, and I bought a kit for, what did I sell for? $500, and it's worth $3,000, baby. I 6x. We're up here. I was like, dude, I'm happy for you. That's fantastic. Rudy, you ran the second Metazoo sale. I paid $819 for that kit. Dude. At the time, when my buddy flipped it immediately for $1,100, he was happy. But now, it looks like the market price of the Rudy card, the market price of the booster box, market price of the spell book, and of course, the market price of some of the other promos have dropped 20%. So now my $819 kit is only worth like $600 or $700. Yes, when you engage in higher risk, higher return swings, when you shift that arrow, that's what you can expect. That's normal. That's not surprising to me. Because again, if the timeline of life swung in the other direction, a message like that would never come. A message like that never showed up when the first kit went to the moon. A message like that will always show up if something depreciates as the market marches forward in time. This is normal. This is completely normal behavior. Now, in the long term, who knows what's going to happen? Again, in the long term, in the collectible space, you're really betting and placing your money and investment into the position of the company, the distribution, and how well they can guide the ship. That's really what you're placing your money on. Not really me or the YouTube channel. You're really placing your money and putting your capital, and you're hoping that the future navigation of the company is very successful so that pretty much everything appreciates across the board, player base expands, creating, as the number of people expanding are interested in the product, well, the quantity available on the previous and older products still remains very low. Therefore, demand continues to expand with the player base, and supply continues to be squeezed because of the tilt of the teeter-totter. Now, as we go into the next part of this video, I just hope this makes sense. Are you guys understanding this so far? Anyway, so as we go into part 2 of this video, so we'll finish up the Metazoo conversation. So I ran that sale, for those of you who are not aware, just as an interesting case study, I offered a single kit at $820 or $820, and there was a 50% surcharge if you wanted to be greedy and buy more kits above that. So you could buy the full kit for $820, or if you wanted extra as an investor or flipper, or to give to a friend who's not a patron, or whatever you want to do, you can buy additional product, but you don't get the cheaper price. That was a theory. Now, of course, when the game ended a few days later, I disclosed to people that the people who did pay the extra surcharge did get some bonus items. Now, of course, some people are like, Rudy, can I buy the extra now? No, because now the results and the data have been revealed. You can't just buy afterwards. That's silly. I had 2 people try that. It's like, anyways. So what happens is if you bought a second kit, just because, even though you wanted extra for whatever reason, I still threw in an extra like $125 release event deck. If you bought 2 extra kits, I don't remember what I threw in like an extra box or a card. Anyways, all the way up to 5 kits. So if you ended up buying like the max, like 5 extra kits type thing, essentially 3 people did it. That was it. I threw in, at the time, it was like a $7,000 free Kickstarter box as just kind of a reward. And I thought it would be a fun thing. As of the filming of this video, the value of a Kickstarter box, I believe, is now over $10,000 a box as Metazoo continues to push forward, and that's what's going on with it. So interesting as it is. But that was kind of how it unfolded. Am I happy with it? Am I going to do something like that again? Probably not, because what ended up happening was a lot of people felt they didn't like the concept of it. The feedback was mixed. Some people loved it. Some people were very angry. Some people, rawr, close my account. F you, Rudy. Same old thing I get every single day of the week and month. But the consensus seemed to be most people thought it was creative and fun. And other people thought they didn't like the idea that some people made out with tons of free money. Well, the other people didn't. And it was kind of it didn't really give off the vibe that I was hoping for, because the overall objective was that you could buy a kit, but if you wanted extra product beyond the limit of 1, you had to pay extra. Essentially, what's going on is high demand products, stores, companies, or whatever, they release a very hot product that there's not enough to go around. Usually companies limit it to 1. Okay? So I thought, well, instead of limiting it to 1, which was the original game plan, allow people the option, if they wanted extra, you had to pay a surcharge because you're demanding more, which is going to take away from other people. That was the principle. But anyways, that's the end of that conversation. Overall, I liked the Rudy card and the other one better. But this was interesting. I don't have any other further games planned anytime soon, so it's going to be pretty quiet, back to normal, as again, we return to reality and reset our expectations back to the real world. All right, back to the financial video, everybody. So, looking at this, since I've been on YouTube in 2016, from 2016 to 2020, this was always what I had talked about. Averaging this, anyone who's been around the channel a long time, you've heard me mention the goal of building wealth and expanding and creating that growth was always this range. Now, 2020 had brought in the dawning of this new era where everything, if you didn't make minimum 20, 30 double-digit % type returns, people were negative. People bashed it, bashed the product, will bash the influencer, the YouTuber like me, their local store. I've seen it, everything from LGSs around the country. I mean, angry in their customers, because of magic. Collector boxes and booster boxes have dropped in price after they bought them on release. I've seen it a lot with Pokemon lately. A ton with Pokemon. Man, some horror stories. Horror stories. Did I say horror? Horror stories. No. And horror stories of people in stores, just customers angry. One store even told me a dude came back after he bought a case of maybe it was Chilling Rain. I guess he bought it for like $160 a box. No, maybe it was Vivid Voltage. Anyways, he bought a case and he was so angry, and he came back like 3 months later saying, I want all my money back. Here's the case, like the sealed case or whatever. And I guess there was a dispute, and the dude ended up like chucking and throwing the booster boxes and like broke a glass display case, and then like threw one behind the apparently some crazy stuff. I don't know how much of these stories are true, but I get these messages and I read, unless you can give me a link to a news website or an article with proof, I'm always like, dude, this is kind of like, is this a copy pasta story? Is this something like, Rudy's flying around on the Jeff Bezos penis, rocket thing? You hear these crazy things. Man, so, I don't think it's the fault of the stores. I don't think it's the fault of Pokemon or Magic or Flesh and Blood or Metazoo. I think it's the fault of all of us expecting this, and we need to come back to this. That's what really the core component of this video is, because you're not supposed to be able to buy something and turn around and flip it a day later and make 10, 20, 50, 100%. That's not the way collectibles are supposed to work. Now, there's a lot of things I've been working on. Side note, caveat, I think some of you might appreciate. I've been researching some other categories, okay? Yes, I'm still a fan of the video game world, sealed video games. No, I don't own any WATA games, and no, I don't have any plans to own any WATA games. That is a mess of a toxic disaster. As you guys know in my regular bookshelf videos, I do own a good amount of sealed PlayStation 1, PS2, Nintendo DS, old school Nintendo NES, SNES stuff. I do have a few graded VGA games, like my gold Zeldas and everything, that, again, I bought years ago. You know, sealed original Zelda, Zelda 2 Link. You know, I paid a couple $100 a piece years ago. I still love that space. I'm not a fan of all the graded video games and the WATA thing, but I'm still putting time and learning about the space because I still like sealed and old Nintendo, SNES, PS1 games. I still like that stuff. I actually like it better without the grading, but that's just me. There's other categories I've actually been learning and researching on. Those of you know, I'm also a fan of kind of old currency, or the numeric, and, you know, the old U.S. federal paper currency from like 1900s, the old large note currencies and things like that. Not Confederate money, not like local state money, the actual U.S. Federal Reserve notes, maybe silver certs or gold certs. And, you know, I'm not a big coin guy. Some of the other categories I have not mentioned on this channel before. I am still a pretty big fan of actually Legos. This is the very first time I've ever mentioned it, but we're like pretty late in the video, so I don't really expect anyone to notice this. But I'm still I've been researching a lot with Legos. And I've been a fan of Legos when I was a kid. I stepped away from it years ago. I know, I was a Timmy. I sold all my old castles and pirate ships and city Legos from, oh my God, the mid-90s. I sold them all years ago when I went to college. I actually got quite a bit of money for them, even back in those standards. I sold them in like 2001. You know, the old castle sets. And I mean, I saw the prices today. And again, mine were all just used in bags. I didn't have new in box. But, you know, I've seen the prices now and they're unbelievable. But I'm really fascinated with the concept. All these limited runs, they retire the sets. Some are exclusive through Lego Direct. And I like the products. They're really good quality. They're creative. They have all these high-end Technic brands, and they're doing cars now. I saw the Lamborghini one. I saw one with the houses, and I saw one where they're doing all the Lego Architect series. And then they still even have new kind of ninja-type pirate and houses and city, and they have haunted house and kind of all these they stackable or collect or attach whatever, or, you know. And there's a lot of segments of that I am very intrigued by. And I'm very intrigued. Even like I saw some like the Ghostbuster stuff. I saw haunted house ones. There's even a Nintendo one, like an NES Nintendo Lego thing. Really wild, like a TV that worked or something. It was crazy. And I'm seeing these things, and they're really well done. Like the quality and the passion you can feel in the product. And I'm really a fan of all these alternative categories, especially the categories that haven't really blown up into 10x and exponential. And again, I'm not going to talk about any more after this, but, you know, Lego has not exploded in some of the old, very rare things. And again, you know, there's no reserve list of Lego or anything, but I like that as a diversification category. And I would say the biggest downside is sealed boxes of Legos are very condition sensitive, and they're usually very bulky. And you know, when you ship those, you're gonna have to double, triple box oversized. So there are some downsides to the Lego thing. But as far as a diversification category, where a lot of the non-mainstream, especially the bigger, more high-end sets for adults, I'm very intrigued by those. And I have been considering really, really expanding into that category with a pretty substantial amount of money and trying to build a position in maybe like, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 of each set I feel is good. You know, like maybe 50 of each of the Technic cars, 50 of each of the Ghostbusters, 50 of each. You know, I've been considering looking into that. I'm very intrigued by it because it's really has a good 20, 30 year history now, similar to Magic, of a consistent, stable growth where nothing goes up. You know, you don't buy a $100 Lego set and sell it for $10,000, you know, but I like that. It's showing good, healthy movement. So anyways, so as we move on in this video, I really wanted to bring that up for the very first time. So yeah, I've never talked about Legos. But anyways, part 3 of this video, back to the main, returning to reality of everything. Like I said, this whiteboard's a little bit different because we're talking about mindset in different categories. Like I said, we talked about the Metazoo, we talked about some Pokemon stuff. Yes, Pokemon is still in a bear market. No, I am not going to stop buying Pokemon. Yes, I'm still going to be ordering the new Brilliant Stars, whatever set. I'm still buying and hoarding the older Pokemon sets. Yeah, if a distributor says, hey, Rudy, I got battle styles of Pokemon, clearance or whatever, are you willing to buy? I mean, I'm not going to turn it down. Let's put it that way. There's still opportunities, even during the bear market. Remember, real wealth is made when there's blood in the street, the panic, the fear index is off the chart. Which again, let's talk about the overall stock market and everything. So crypto, stock market, and everything going on. As of filming this video, ironically, I started filming this morning. I woke up and like the crypto market just tanked like a brick. Everything across the board, 20-30% just boom. Like I was like, wasn't Bitcoin like 65 or 69 giggity thousand? And I saw it was like 47,000, just wow. You know, all these, the Ethereums, the Cardanos, the Algorins, you know, all these. And again, I know some of you are like, Rudy, you didn't mention my coin, whatever. The point is, the ones I follow, they all drop substantially. Now, these are the times, just like the stock market, in the last few weeks as of the filming this video, the stock market's been very volatile. The whole Optimus Prime, you know, United Power Rangers variant of the new virus, which is like, I think it's like an underground fish variant that turns into like, I think it can fly out of the water like a spaceship, like the Jeff Bezos penis rocket. I'm not sure. I know people are like, Rudy, you suspiciously mentioned the Jeff Bezos penis rocket so many times. I'm getting a little sus. I'm getting a little suspect. Well, you know, I'm a little jealous of a billionaire that has so much money he can just shoot himself in space for 30 seconds and come back, and it costs more money than all of us can comprehend. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so in times like this, these are the times I get excited about because it's opportunity. These are the times you really want to be involved. Not the times where everything's slow and steady increasing, reserve list is slow and steady going up, every stock price, every tech stock, every single growth stock is just slow and steady. These are the times that you want to pay more attention. These are the exciting moments. And again, what's happening is everybody wanted this in the stock market. Everybody wanted this in crypto. Everybody's like, Rudy, Bitcoin's going to be 100,000, 250,000, 100, Rudy, Bitcoin by New Year's, 100K, Rudy. Next Christmas, 250K. I've heard it all. And maybe it still does that. But you can't run your life and make decisions based on that. Because those are people saying, Rudy, if Bitcoin's at 60,000, it's going to go to 100. And next year's going to be 250. Boom, you're going to 4 or 5x range. You're going 100, 200% annual returns. And that it's just not realistic. That's when you set yourself up for extreme downturn swings. Because you're taking on more risk than you realize. And you don't know you're taking that much risk until it's too late when you see your portfolio or your wealth swing really hard. So again, we need to return to a natural thing. If you have X amount of dollars, there's nothing wrong with putting 5% in a crypto, 10% in a collectible, 10% in stock, 10% in real estate, 10% in cash. There's nothing wrong with diversifying across these. Because again, every category is moving differently. Crypto tanked apparently today. Guess what? I don't think reserve list tanked today. Pokemon's just sitting there going, does anybody like me anymore? Weiss is like, Rudy talked about Weiss. Everybody bought Weiss and now the new sets are all tanking. Every category moves independently. And that's good. That's the point. That's the reason we do this. If they were all the same, we wouldn't divide everything up. Just put everything in one thing. If they all moved exactly the same, what would the point be of diversifying? Like they say, diversification is the only free lunch, right? Isn't that what they say? So anyways, back to the whiteboard here. So, everybody got so disoriented with these crazy numbers. That's why I wanted to just draw this. I felt this right here summed up what it is. This is what we should be doing, and this is what people are expecting. Because the difference between what people are expecting and what we should be doing is so far apart. Look at this. The difference is so far apart. That is why you're seeing all this volatility. That's why you're seeing crazy price movements. That's why people are worked up. People are quitting. The scalpers are leaving Pokemon. Rudy, the reserve list is quiet. All new Magic's dead. Every new collector box, useless. That's why we're seeing these swings. That's why we're seeing because again, the market's trying to price these things. You've got a lot of people that are using a lot of leverage, credit cards, margin, loans, home equity lines of credit. People are leveraging into all these things because they're saying, well, Rudy, I've only got $1,000, but I can borrow 10,000 on my credit card. So my price power, or my purchasing power, PP, no inappropriate jokes, went from $1,000 in wealth. Now I can borrow 10,000, and on my credit card, I got 11,000. I just 10x my leverage. Because if I invest $1,000 and I make 10%, I only made $100, Rudy. But if I borrow 10,000 and I invest the 11,000 and I make 10%, I just made $1,100 instead of 100. Yes, that's true. But you do understand the concept here. Here's the thing. Let's erase this real quick. Let me do a quick thing right here. And then we're going to wrap this video up today as we all need to reset our way of thinking here, okay? Dude, check this out. Check this out. Again, I get this all the time. Rudy, I have $1,000. $1,000. All right? Okay. I get these messages. Younger individuals still in school. I want to invest. I want to buy Magic. I want to buy, you know, I don't know, 1/100th of one share of Berkshire Hathaway, whatever. I said, Rudy, if I make 10%, okay, if I can make 10%, I turn into 1,100. So I'm up plus $100, right? All I got to do is make 10%. Boom, I just made $100. That's like a free night's worth of work at my restaurant or whatever, all right? Okay, that's great. And then the same thing happens. Rudy, I'm going to borrow $10,000 on my credit card. So now I've got a bankroll of $11,000, right? And I'm going to make 10%. So now on that 10%, boom, I'm going to make, really? You really going to make that? How should I do this? Okay, we'll just put on here. I'm going to make, we'll see, I don't want to write 1,100 profit because then it gets a little confusing. I guess I should put 12,000. We'll just do 12. We'll kind of keep it kind of simple here. You go from 11,000 to 12,000. I really didn't want to make it too confusing. I'm trying to keep the numbers even. Now, here's the thing that you don't kind of factor in. All Timmy's think about is, Rudy, I want to make this. Instead of making $100, here, where's my green marker? Instead of making $100 on my $1,000, I want to make $1,100. That's all people think about is upside. I don't want to make 100. That's not going to help my life. I need to make 1,100. That's all people think about. Here's the damn problem. You're not looking at this like a professional money manager would. Here's the problem. As we talked about on the nice spread open flower thing we did a minute ago, if you can make 10%, you can lose 10%. Is that correct? Didn't we just talk about that? If you have the potential for that upside, you have the same equal potential for that downside, right? Now here's the thing: if you lose 10% on $1,000, you lose $100, right? No big deal. Your $1,000 goes to $900. You borrow $10,000 on a credit card, and you lose 10%. You just lost $1,100, right? Right? So here's the problem: you just lost $1,100. You only have $1,000 in equity. You only have $1,000 equity. You only have $1,000. Everything else is borrowed. If you lose $1,100, you have nothing. You are nuked. You go nuclear. You are negative 100. You have zero equity. That's the problem. And if you lose 20, 30% because you have a black swan event or a major event happens, Optimus Prime variant, you are in the hole. And again, we've talked about this before. You never build something that has the potential to take down the system. You always need to be able to live to fight another day. And if you're leveraged 10x like this guy was, instead of 1,000 investing, so he could make his 100, he said, Rudy, I'm going in with 11,000, baby, because I want to make 1,100. I don't want to make $100. That's Timmy money. Okay? Well, guess what? He lost 10%. So now, that's literally a loss greater than his entire equity position. And that's the problem, is that Timmy's don't look at this. We don't want to talk about this. Rudy, I'm gonna buy a scratch-off ticket. It's only $1, right? What's the scratch-off ticket now? $20, $30? People only look at the winnings. They don't look at the losses. Anyways, final segment of this video. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. The point is, it's a perspective problem. And to sum up the conversation we talked about today, everybody, it comes down to a problem of the less assets you have, the more risk you tend to take, which historically that is the correct thing to do, because especially when you're young and you don't have a lot of responsibility, you don't have maybe a family or wife or kids or husband or whatever, and you don't have people relying on you, you can take on more risk. But you guys got to remember, at the end of the day, if you cannot make a decision that if you're wrong, you get nuked. You have to really, and no matter how confident you are in investment, in anything, look what happened with me, with Flesh and Blood and Monarch. After I sold all my Monarch at release, I saw the prices just tanking, and the market tanked all the way down from 600 to like 250, 300. So I started buying them at 200. I told everybody on YouTube, look at the old videos, because I thought, hey, it can't go much lower. There's only so much supply out there. Well, guess what? I was fucking wrong. Why was I wrong? Because new information came to market that I was not aware of. I based my decisions on information that I had at the time that I thought was complete information. Now, what turned out to be true was that I did not have all the information. There were actually other large stores and large people involved in the distribution or in the industry that were sitting on literally 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 boxes. Because of that, and they saw the continuing losses and dropping the prices, they opened the floodgate, accelerated the declines. Now again, which turned out to make my decision to buy more at the open market, because I couldn't get more. Distributors don't have any, at least this is what I was told. I wanted to buy more and have some for the future, because I was on board with everybody else thinking Monarch was going to eventually go to like 1,000, Mon to 1K thing, because I still think the product is good. I still like the product. I think it's a great, beautifully engineered product. I kind of like Tails a little better though. I'm a little biased. But although I am curious about this Carnival thing. Again, it's no first three. It's no WTR, ARC, or Crew. That's going, as time is marching forward, the original 3 Flesh and Blood set are starting to look like the golden era of Flesh and Blood. It's starting to look that way, but we don't have enough time. Time will make that decision for all of us. But again, I made a decision based in that moment on what I thought I had the whole picture of the puzzle, all the pieces. I was wrong. Because of that, I've taken substantial losses on the amount of boxes in the 1,000, 2,000 boxes I bought. I've taken huge losses. I'm down probably a third of the money on some of those purchases. But that's part of it. I accepted that risk. I was wrong. Okay? Now, is that really going to change my life long term? Like financially, if it worked out or didn't? No. It does make me unhappy because I was wrong. But at the same time, I'm not going to contact all these people I bought boxes from and send them back and the money I paid them try to hit them or take their money. But I'm not going to do that because I assume I'm a big boy. I assumed my side of the transaction and I hold my word to the transaction. In long term, that's a very valuable thing because if you burn people, you lose a lot of connections and word spreads fast. So I look back at an example like that, okay? And that reinforced me that if I was leverage crazy and I had done that and I took those kind of losses, I'd be in big trouble, okay? But I wasn't, and I believed in the product, and I still believe in the product. And as long as James and LSS continue to navigate the company in the future and create good products that are exciting, and they keep market new things coming to market, and they can actually drive and steer the ship, everything should work out fine in the long run. Again, it's really up to them. They're leading the ship. They're making the product, not me. My job is to tell you all about it. I try to sell the product when new things come out. Try to sell the product. I'm nervous now moving forward. But, that's kind of where I am. I don't own the company. They don't cut me checks to talk about it. I buy the product and I sell it and I try to get good promos and deals and, hopefully cold foils maybe in the future, promos. I don't even know if they're doing cold foil. Why? I don't know. But, so this is where we're at. So now back to this whole thing. That's why it's important because no matter how confident I was still wrong. And I eat, sleep, breathe this stuff 24/7. And that's something everybody needs to remember. No matter how confident you are, you can still be wrong. And if you're wrong, you need to live to fight another battle. You need to live to fight another day. You can't over leverage and lose everything, go bankrupt, because then you're going to set yourself back years. And sometimes years could be 7 years. Sometimes it could be 10 years. Sometimes, You know, I mean, people think, oh, Rudy, I'm gonna bet $250,000 if I'm wrong, I'll file bankruptcy. Yeah, so what if the judge doesn't discharge your bankruptcy? What if the judge puts you on a payment plan or doesn't actually discharge everything? Life is more complicated than just, I'm just not going to pay my bills and walk away. Life is complicated, especially depending where you live in this world and the local rules and everything. And, you know, you need to make these decisions based on downside risk. I tell people that all the time. People need to focus more on downside risk. For some reason, people don't. I don't know why. All people do is, Rudy, oh God, I just, you know, I still, you know, bless their hearts type thing. I get young people, patrons, comments all the time. Rudy, what magic box? I got $500. I can buy one case of magic. Which one do I buy now? So that $500 case is going to go to like 5,000. And, you know, and I'm not reply as a dick, or I don't say anything rude. I just say, hey, honestly, if I knew that answer, I would be doing it. I don't, which is why you see these videos, and I have all kinds of products in storage and warehouse, and I store it all. Because I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. Anybody who's trying to pitch you that they know or guaranteed, the G word, run for the hills, G word. You know, anyone who's pitching you that they're going to 10x your money and make all this crazy profit and they have the solution, they're lying. Those are the most dangerous people and the scummiest people. You know, if I knew that answer, and remember, and I'm going to cut the video off, I'm just rambling now. At the end of the day, anyone who actually could predict the stock market, who could predict which box of cards is going to go to the moon, anyone who actually knew or was from the future, they were from the other side of the flat earth, they've come from some other universe, they've time traveled, they popped up to Rudy's lost ex-girlfriend of Atlantis, whatever crazy carrot shenanigans they want to pitch to you, if anybody actually knew this, they wouldn't tell you. They wouldn't go online and tell you. And I'm the first one to tell you, I don't know. I don't know. I'm the same guy who lost, you know, at least 100, 200,000 probably on Monarch just buying back from the public. You know, I'm the same guy who thought Tails was going to go a lot higher. I'm the same guy who thought the new Magic Collector boxes were going to continue to perform well. I'm the same guy now sitting on 1,000 boxes of Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, 1,000 boxes of Evolving. I got so much Pokemon, it makes Rudy's old bathroom look like child's play. You know, I don't know. I do the best I can to make decisions in the moment. And the only way to know if I'm right or wrong is I make a video in a year, 2, 3 years later, like Rudy's Pokemon bathroom, and it reveals whether I look smart or not. And you all are going to judge me based on the last product maybe I talked about, or maybe the last item you bought from me or your local LGS or your local Amazon warehouse. People are going to judge Magic, Pokemon, and every other card game out there based on their last experience. We have short-term memories, short-term emotional swings. We are wired that way. That's okay. You know, you have to remember that. And, you know, you gotta be able to leave emotion at the door. When you run into people who are bashing some big company or some store, or bashing Wizards, or bashing me, or bashing your local, you know, I don't know, stepmom, you know, you have to remove the emotion. And people who are very abrasive like that, I always recommend just kind of back away. They'll tend to weed themselves out. They tend to leave the private group. They tend to move on. Those people tend to be very unstable. And people like that historically, long-term things usually don't work out that good because they're usually unstable. They're angry at their local store, their local Walmart, their family, their ex, their friends, their job. They usually have a lot of anger and everything for, you know, maybe reasons they don't want to tell you. Maybe something bad happened. Maybe they just tried one thing, didn't work out, so now they feel everything's like that. People who are like that, I usually recommend just kind of keep your distance and focus on things. Because remember, no matter how much the crypto market drops, the stock market drops, Flesh and Blood drops, Magic drops, Pokemon drops, remember, it can turn on a dime. And you need to be ready. These are the moments that separate the Timmies from the future Rudies type thing. These are the moments that separate us all. These are the moments that are really going to make it important. So I hope you all learned something today. Have a great day, everybody.